Well, hello, wealthy women. It is Coach Tamara here, and I have a beautiful and very inspiring interview to share with you today. You will definitely be so moved, inspired, transformed, encouraged, all of the beautiful things that you need and want for yourself so that you can continue on this journey that you're on to reach your highest goals and your heart's desire. So I'm actually just going to pass over the mic and camera right now. And please tell us who you are, what you do, how you help, and all of the wonderful things about what you are doing to help
Thank you
others.
so much. First of all, I just want to say it's been such a pleasure to meet you and I know that your audience are very special people. So for all of you who are new to me, I already know that you're special. So thank you so much for being here and for listening in. And thank you for having me and finding me because I think you found me, which means I found you.
Oh, I love it. Yes, meant to come together, right?
Yes. So what I do is because of my own life experiences of being so different, I am a very, very highly evolved, very accurate intuitive. So there's levels of mediumship, and the one that is kindergarten is the only one most people know about. So I don't call myself a medium, although I am. I call myself an intuitive because what I do is I read the mind, the spirit, and the physical around a person. So I can read the subconscious. So the main thing that I do is to help people realize, and I just got off of a session with a guy who thought he was thinking this thing.
Mhm.
And when I really guided him to the truth, he went, I had no idea I was doing that. And it's a mindset thing. So I work with spiritual laws, spiritual principles, universal principles, just like the law of gravity. Everything else is real. All these laws are real. So I use them, but I also can read what you're doing, not what you think you're doing. So, and he knows because he's part of my older soul's tribe. He knows that and I told him, I said, I'm going to hold the space for what I know is the truth about you. And I'm not going to waffle. And so, what are you going to do with me? When the value I found, Tamara, of my coaches holding space for me, believing that I could manifest the money, believing that I could pay them these huge amounts and that I can manifest it. The value of somebody holding that space and really seeing you is you can't pay for that.
No.
So I would say that I hold space, I nurture people, I teach them, I guide them home to themselves. I
Yes.
help them to understand what their abilities are. I help them to understand how that correlates in the physical, emotional, and spiritual. And then I give them the keys to unlock themselves out of their own prisons.
I love this. Tammy, you are amazing. You're a published author too. You have a book. Maybe you can even hold it up right now so we can just show
This
the
is my
audience.
latest. I actually have three,
Yeah,
and I'm bad with mirroring images, so I'm just going to leave it here.
there it
It's
is. Just want to get your name in
super,
there too.
yeah, it's Superpowers Unleashed.
There you
And
go.
it's I'm turning it the wrong way, but
Yep. Nope. That's good. That's perfect.
okay, Superpowers Unleashed, identify and monetize your senses. And there's also a journal, a companion journal that goes with it, where you're constantly in the book. The reason for this book, I actually have two other books that have not been published that are written, they're waiting. And
Mm-hmm.
then one morning I wake up and I get this download, this insight, this intuitive guidance saying, don't do that. Don't publish either one of those books right now. People are crying and they're hurting and they're insecure and they're questioning themselves and they're in self-abuse because they don't know when spiritual teachers tell them, Tammy, you've got the answers within. Well, if we don't show them where the answers are, if we don't tell them how they have the answers, if we don't guide them to knowing themselves,
Yes.
then we're just taunting them. It's like torture to be told you have the answers within. So I was asked to write this book about your five senses in the
Mm.
physical, and then the five senses in the non-physical, which is the spiritual terms for them. So the top five senses are seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling. In the clairs, it is clear seeing. It's seeing beyond the physical. Clear hearing, which is beyond the physical. Clear scent, which is similar to, you've heard people say, I smell a rat,
Yeah. Yeah.
or I have a bad taste in my mouth from
Oh,
clear.
yes. Like an
That's
intuitive.
clairgustance. That's
Oh,
clairgustance. So clear scent is smelling the essence of things behind, not just smelling the odors or the good fragrances in the earth, but what's behind it and reading that energy. And so clairgustance, you can actually taste the energy. You can feel the thickness of it and the measure of it. And then people will make these comments, not realizing that they're using their top five clairs. That left
well,
a bad taste in my mouth. That was you measuring unconsciously what was really being said and done in front of you. So, and then there's clairsentience, which is feeling. Well, what is fascinating is that I have been doing this with my private clients for years. But when I was called and asked, will you give this to the public in a way that everyone can get it and that everyone can use their superpowers to get discernment, to develop their intuition, and to develop their spiritual abilities? This translates to everything in the physical and catapults your success in anything you want, whether it is, everything is about a relationship. So whether it is your relationship with money, and I just told my client, money and I are lovers. We touch
oh,
each other
I
all the
love
time.
that.
We
Oh,
touch
say
each
that
other
one more time. Money and I
and
are
I
lovers. And then what
are
did you
lovers. We're
I
good lovers to each other. We touch each other all the time. It's
fantastic.
so much fun to have that good relationship.
Yes.
But when you're using your five senses associated with the top five clairs, you have now embraced the fact that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And
Mm.
so this is a catapulting, this book is changing lives. And as you can tell, it's not a thin book. So there's the signs, there's how these things start to develop. It's where it's located in the body, how to communicate with somebody who has these abilities, how you can communicate to other people, how you can use it to even get raises, to get more clients, to engage with people, to be a better lover, to be a better mate, to get a better mate and a better lover, and to develop all of your relationships that cause you to have more than your dreams fulfilled in life.
Wow. I love everything that you're saying because in a way it's like here we are having this human experience, right? And in some real way, we don't even have a full knowing of us, who we are. We're having this life, and yet we're not fully tapped into who we actually are, what we're made of, and to get to know yourself more on this obvious physical senses, but then this the clear senses, the trusting of the self, the taking the time to go in and really kind of get the understanding of what is happening. What are you experiencing? I mean, it is really, we owe it to ourselves to get to know ourselves in such a way that can obviously, like you're saying, benefit every part of our life, right? So, this is beautiful work that you're doing. How did you decide that this was it? I am here to help others transform in this manner. And how did you, kind of go about, tell us a little bit about your offers and how you can help people transform that would, and where they can find you, like what's your website?
That's a lot of different things. So I'm going to
Yes.
go into the fact that when I was 11 and something supernatural happened, and then I suddenly am not the same little girl. I wake up and I know, oh God, something's really different. I don't even feel the same. What does this mean? I got into a little bit of fear. Then I started realizing I don't like the same friends. I don't like the same music. I want different music. I want different food. How come I can read your thoughts? How come I can hear what you're thinking? How come I know what's going on in your home? It was like all of my senses awakened overnight. I had an awakening experience because of the decision that I made to invite love in my heart. And when that happened, I started going through this process of using these abilities haphazardly. And that's even part of the thing that's in this book is what are the signs that you're using them haphazardly, and what are some of the issues that you'll fall into? Because every single one of you are using these abilities, but if you're not really aware, then you're going to do what I did, and you're going to give your power away.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was decide that it wasn't safe to be me because I was so different and because I knew things. I decided you need to be quiet. All of us that go through these things have throat chakra issues. It's one of the biggest reasons we've decided to hide, to conceal, to not feel. Don't look at me, don't see me. Very much like Elsa in the movie Frozen. We have these supernatural powers, but when other people have judged us, condemned us, hurt us, it's caused us pain, we want to pull in and go, don't see me. So I went through that process, but what it did was it disempowered me. It attracted a lot of narcissists. It attracted a lot of takers. I got taken advantage of. I got used. I got abused. I became a servant. I became spiritually codependent. I was out of alignment, out of balance, exhausted, wearing myself out, but not really getting anything in return. I was just being taken advantage of. And so what I ended up having to do, because I became homeless because of all this, give your power away,
Yes.
if they're happy, then you're doing good. It's bullshit. All of this stuff is bullshit. So I'm homeless and I'm like, you are either going to have to embrace who you are and honor this and start using the abilities that you have, or you might as well kill yourself. I mean, that's really where I was, and suicide was very attractive. And you see, I stayed because I
Thank
don't
God.
want to have to get into another lifetime and get to this exact same juncture and have to come back and repeat it. So I decided to stay and to start pulling within and put the mirror up. I love Michael Jackson's song, if you want change, you got to change the man or the woman in the mirror. I became that change, and I started learning how to use my abilities. And I started owning the fact that all of us are receiving information that is really part of our inner guidance system and our intelligence. And they're through the five senses. And so I started doing that inner work. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? And instead of letting other people make decisions for me, because I was like, you decide because you seem more sure than me, I started owning who I was. And then in doing that, I've been doing this with clients for years and years. And then all of a sudden, this idea for this book, I started teaching classes years ago, learn how you communicate through the five senses. So I had been working on this for many years, helping other people, but not as a group, not as the general public. And then when Spirit was telling me they're hurting, they're crying, they're asking for it, you're the one with this information. You're the one that has overcome living small and not really honoring who you are, to stepping in. I am that. And I do have the information, and I don't have to question myself, and I do have the answers, and I do know what to do. So when I did that, my entire life changed. And you can see even behind me, this is a manifestation. My home, it's beautiful.
It's
And
beautiful.
I manifested it by using my clairsentient abilities. How does it feel to constantly have to move 14 times and not even knowing where you're going to live next year, or if you're going to have to move, or if they're going to go up on the rent? I decided to buy a house. And so everything that I do now is based on that as a foundation. And then, of course, there's other teachings. So I've been noticing I've been doing this with my clients, but not really calling it what I'm calling it. And then I heard, you got to go full on, you got to do this. So this is one thing that I offer. There's actually a quiz that people can go to that is free, where you can find out where your number one dominant superpower is by taking this quiz. If you are in the US, you can simply text the word superpowers to 26786. That is superpowers to 26786. If you're not, you can go to www.superpowersunleashed.com/quiz. You can take that quiz for free. And then there's a 6-week course, and then there's a weekend, and then there are other things that I offer. I offer life and breakthrough transformations for people personally that really want to catapult. They're ready for that big, big growth where they're not the same even after one day. So there's a lot of different things that I offer. There's a mentoring that's called Confusion to Clarity. And that is really good because all I'm doing is clearing up what you think, and then you can make a choice. So everything that I do is about getting you to see the truth about yourself, getting you to self-identify, getting you to honor who you are, and then making decisions based on honoring you because you have the awareness.
This is so powerful, the work that you're doing. And what you just said about honoring yourself, it really does come to a place because so many of us have given away our power, me included, in the hopes that I'd get a pat on the back or, wow, you really love me. I appreciate you for loving me so well. And sometimes it doesn't go the way you planned and you lose. And nothing's really ever a loss, I should say, because there's always a lesson to be learned. And it's meant to put you on a different path. And mine did come to want to help others to, avoid maybe the mistakes of how I gave my power away. And you are so clear in helping people to get into their ownership of self. First, understanding of self, right? And then ownership of it. And then to be able to go into the world in this most powerfully self-loved place, starting place. I mean, it's just such a beautiful journey. And then you're attracting the right people to you, right? You're attracting the right opportunities to you because you put yourself first. And it's like the whole oxygen mask scenario, right? It's like we always think that, oh, we have to help and give everything away, and we leave our tanks empty. And then we get into bad scenarios that we know finally we wake up and say, hey, I am a creation. I deserve more. What is happening here? And we have to really do take that hard look at ourselves, but we need the guidance, right? Because some people, most of us, we don't know how to recognize it, and we need the help, the coaching, the mentorship, the leadership to help us to ask the right questions or have us recognize our own blocks and how we're getting in our way. And it's just such beautiful work, right? To really develop your gift of living and your life experience so that you can be a benefit, of course, to yourself, but to others, but in a healthy way, right? With the healthy boundaries, with the companionship that complements you instead of depletes you, right? And I think this is so important, the work that you're doing, especially for women, because our we're just trained to take care, to
Yes.
nurture, and this is a beautiful thing. And there's nothing wrong with this quality, but it is about that balance, making sure that you have enough giving up to yourself, that you have enough to give, to the right people that deserve the giving, and the manifestation, like wow, like look at, and this builds such confidence, right? Like when you
Yes.
start to go from one moment in your life that's kind of dark or very, heavy, and then you turn it around. That must be such a magnificent feeling. And the fact that you can help other people get there as well is just so inspiring, the work that you're doing. So,
Thank you. It's been a big journey. And one day I was in Florida and I was hearing you're gonna help the teachers and the leaders of the world. And I went, that just proves you don't know me because I'm not qualified. But I didn't realize that I was already on a journey in doing my own self-healing and learning how to not be a victim and turn to a victor where you actually make decisions. The problem is that we don't even know what we're doing. We
yes.
think we're doing something else, but the physical is always showing you the evidence of what you're really doing. That's the game. If you don't realize the laws of attraction that teach, you are experiencing that which you are creating. You are expanding. Whatever you think upon expands. So we think we're doing something different because we're tapping into the heart energy. We're tapping into, but I want this, so I think I'm doing it differently. My job is to help you to see what you're really doing so you can choose, because you cannot change that which you are not aware of. You can't.
It's so
It's like I
true.
was explaining to another client this morning, I had an emergency, and she was like, do you just have a few minutes? And I do that for people in my tribe that have the membership. And I was telling her, I said, you're doing this thing in every single aspect. We think money's the problem, but money is not the problem. That limited thinking affects every single thing in your life. So my job is to help you identify it so that you can see it.
Yeah.
Once you see what's not in the scene, that's when you can change it. That's when you can transition to love energy. That's when you can change to the victor and start making decisions.
And what's lovely about that is once you make that change, that transition, you are changed for good. You will never go back, right? It is like you
It's a
have,
miracle.
it's like you've conquered a whole new world and you
Yes.
are loving it. And the past is just staying, you take from it what is meant to be taken, but you really show up in such a different way. And it's like the snap of a finger kind of change. It's done. You are
Yes.
changed for the better. And then you just get excited because then you're like, wow, if that growth happened, what else can I grow and become better at? Right. And so yeah, we need your help to be improving on ourselves. So I love the work that you're doing because it's so holistic. It's self-love in action. It is joy in action. It is being of service in action. It is just so authentic and from creator energy. And it is just really beautiful work because
Thank you for seeing me.
I love it.
Thank
It's
you for seeing me.
fantastic.
That's why I love being a part of what you're doing and your audience, because I know that you're a big catalyst too. And we're about transformation. We're not about, I realize that a lot of spiritual teachers are teaching the truth, but if they're not guiding people to how this relates in their private lives, then it just kind of stays outside themselves over here.
That's
And
right.
it's like, wait a minute, I know this. Why is this not happening? They said this would happen. Well, I get down and dirty with it. I get in the
Yeah.
mud with you and show
Yeah.
you what's going on
Yes.
so that you can make choices. You making the choices is the breakthrough barrier. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
known as the breakthrough alchemist. This is what I do. I guide people to their own breakthroughs, which causes transformation and miracles. And then people start coming up to you and going, what is different about you? Did you change your hair?
Yeah.
What, you don't have the same mindset. You're not as negative. And what I've learned is that we are negative, limited thinking people. And I tell my clients that work with me on a consistent basis and the people that are in my tribe, I tell them, I say, look, even I have a limited scope. However, what I've learned is this: whatever the universe and spirit wants for you is 100 to 1,000 times bigger than anything you can conceive.
Oh yeah.
It's like you've been
Absolutely.
given, like if you're in the stands and you're supposed to be on the football field running the football, and I know we're women, but still, this is a good illustration. And God himself or the universe or, your higher self, however you want to frame this, says, you come down here on the field and play with the ball. As you take that first step, you're transitioning.
Yeah.
You're already transforming. You're on a journey. By the time you get down to the bottom and you get the ball in your hands, we will typically run where we think the goalpost is. But guess what? Because you've already shifted, the goalpost is moved.
Like that.
And you
Like
can
that.
go with that flow. You can. There's always more. There's 10 to 1,000 times more that you're going to get if you'll just trust your inner guidance and really start embracing. I have wanted something for most of my life and I've never gotten it. I'm going to start owning that I want it.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
going to start really looking at what is the journey for me to take to have that. This is how I manifest like this house or different things is I don't look at the limit. I look at what I want and I'm determined to get what I want. And
I love that.
I
I
stay in
don't,
that energy.
there you go. I don't look at the limit. I look at what I want. That's
Yes.
it right there. And when you start to think about, God, spirit, universe, the magnificence of everything from nature to our body systems. And then we are having such little limited goals sometimes for ourselves, thinking it's not possible. We really have to start to realize we are one of the same with the creator, right? Whatever that means to you. Like, we have powers we don't even know we have. It's just a matter of maybe not being afraid to know that we have so much power and being open to receiving it, and then being guided by the proper people like yourself that can help you to really amplify that. So, okay, I love this. I could talk to you all day about this, but I want to get into a couple success questions. I think we really covered so much in this beautiful conversation that um some of my questions might seem redundant now, but let's give it a go. So if you could, I always like this question. So it's specifically about like building a business and how that made your life better. So if you could choose only one answer, what is the number one way that building your business has enriched your life? And why would you encourage other women to go ahead and go for it for their own lives?
Um, I would encourage them to go for it because you know what's really weird? I was part of a PR firm and they said that if one person has studied one subject for 6 months, they're considered an expert. You have been planning your business and what you have to give your entire life from the moment that you were born. And then if you will step into that knowing of, I feel the calling. I know I came here to do something big, so I'm going to do the big. It doesn't really matter if you fall or you break something in the process. What matters is that you're doing it. If you look at Abraham Lincoln and how many businesses failed and how many times he was bankrupt and how many times he lost everything, and then he became the president of the United States. We don't give up. We as women are very strong, very powerful beings. And when we stop questioning ourselves and just say, I'm just going to make a decision, and then I will know very quickly whether I need to alter that decision, move it to something else, because we're constantly on this self-evolving journey. There isn't a right or wrong. There is, you are needed. We need you to come out of hiding and do what you came here to do. I need people on the playground with me. I can't play by myself.
I love that. That's so nice. Everybody has a purpose to fulfill, and it's just a matter of tapping into that and owning it and allowing it, and then go and make your mark on the world and be of service. Really, I just love this. I love it. Okay, what is your number one professional tip for women to grow their businesses? If you had to choose just one way, what do you think is a great way for them to grow their business?
Marketing, marketing, marketing. And in saying that, I'm going to give you a really big cue. Instead of coming about doing your business and marketing from, I need to show you what I do, I need to prove to you that I have something to offer you, I would say get rid of every single bit of that mindset and go, what is my main client looking for and how can I serve them? And then change your vernaculars to, you get this, you will receive transformation. You will get change. You will receive information that you've been looking for that nobody else is giving you. You're going to get private attention. You're going to get an expert who has overcome it. And I'm going to hold that space for you. So the way that most of us go about business is we're feeling insecure and we're kind of questioning ourselves in the subconscious. And so we're going about, I need to explain it. I need for them to understand. No, it's not about you. It is about what your clients are looking for, and you've already got the tools. Is that helpful?
Oh, it's extremely. And you know, another thing, what you were just saying about how you need you need to basically help solve the problem, right? And so this is one of the greatest things. Like a lot of women uh get a little bit nervous the first time they have to go visible. And I always like sharing this. When you take it out of the equation, that it's not about you, it is about your message, it is about how you can help transform somebody so that they can have a better life, that you're in service to them, all of that anxiety that you worry about showing up. Oh, is my hair good enough? Is my eye makeup good? I'm too scared to go online, or whatever it is, the story that you're telling yourself. It, you're human, we get it, but the bottom line is move that to the side and show up so that you can be of service to somebody that needs you. And it was just like the message that you got about your book, right? You have two books, but it wasn't the time. And it's very interesting that you said that, because there's been a couple like things that I wanted to offer and I thought I was ready to go, and I was dragging my feet and I couldn't figure it out. Why am I procrastinating? Why didn't I do that yet? And then along the time will come a little breakthrough where there's a whole different shift in my mindset. I'm like, oh, because it's not time for that yet, or it needed to be tweaked. And so those hunches, you know, like the four, I always believe, right? Like, don't, if something has to be forced, it's, if it's so hard, I tend to feel it's not meant for you. Like, that's a sign. Like, ask for, step back and stop pushing. It should be an enjoyable giving experience that benefits everybody. Like, what's your thoughts on that? That's actually a sometimes, because here's the thing. Let's say we have goals, right? And there is something to be said about willpower and pushing through to achieve, no doubt. But then there's also the other side of it where all of a sudden it's so hard. It's just obstacle after, it's a different kind of hard. What's your thoughts on that? And how can you let people know when, how to distinguish between the two?
This is really, really good
Good
because
question,
this
right?
is, this
Yeah.
is a very common issue for
Yeah.
people in business or wanting to be in business. So what I have found is I am adept, because of me using my intuitive abilities and my spiritual abilities. I'm adept at reading energy, and I know when it's fear energy and when it's love energy. And so anytime there's pressure to
Mhm.
do something, you're out of alignment, and you're just going to run into one problem after the other. What I would say to do is to back away and ask to connect to what your higher self knows. Because what happens is we get so gung-ho on, I think I know what it is. I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to go by myself. Just leave me alone now. I'm going to go to the chalkboard. I'm going to write all these equations and I'm going to do this by myself. And you get into pressure.
Yeah.
You're not alone. You have an intelligent inner guidance system, and you can connect with the spiritual side of you at any moment. I'm going to tell you a wild story. I'm in France and I'm studying with the most famous trompe l'oeil artist alive today. His name is Michel Nadai, and I'm struggling. There's something wrong with one of my paintings. And I'm in pain, and I'm in my room and I'm crying about it, and I'm bathing, and I'm just washing myself, and I'm crying. And I heard, why are we crying? Clear audience. And I said, oh, because I'm here in France and I'm not getting it. And this guy is being mean and he's not speaking to me and he won't help me and he's helping everybody else. And I came here to learn, and you know me, I have to learn. And I heard, you don't even need him. And I went, what? and I saw three faces come forward, and I didn't know who the guys were. And they were very famous artists, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, and Bellini. I didn't know who they were. And I said, okay, who are the three of you? And they told me their names. I said, well, you do know I have the internet. I'm going to go look you up and see if this is who you are. I'm kind of a smart ass. So I did that. And I said, so why are you here? And they said, you can ask us. You can tap into the unlimited, Tammy. You can ask us. And I stopped crying and I went, oh, well, you're probably going to have to remind me tomorrow because I'm going to forget. We're not even on that painting right now. So sure enough, after lunch, he said, put that other painting up, and I could feel the stress. I could feel the pain. I could feel you're not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not. And then I heard, ask us. And I got about an inch away from my painting. And I just said, okay, guys, you told me that I could tap into the unlimited. I have clear audience. Speak to me and tell me what to do to this painting. And I heard mix ultramarine blue and another color. I can't remember what the other color was, and which mix this much glaze and only go to the architectural elements and randomly where we tell you to put your hand, mix this in. And within 3 minutes, the painting was fixed. So when you're acting like you're alone and you got to do this by yourself to prove something, you are out of alignment and you're going to experience resistant energy in everything. Get in alignment, connect, and ask for that unlimited information that your spirit knows. And guess what? The entire class, I'm standing there looking at this, crying tears of joy because this had been painful for 2 weeks. I'm crying tears of joy very quietly, and the entire class made a circle around me because they saw, oh my God, what did you do? And I went, I fixed it. But only by tapping into what is not seen. If I just focused on how mean the artist was, or that he wouldn't help me, or I couldn't get it, you're blocked. You're not going to get it. We've got to connect with the supernatural part of ourselves and go, okay, show me, make me feel it, let me see it, let me hear it, let me taste it, let me smell it. And then I can do it.
Wow, I love this. I'm so glad I went off the card deck here, but I'm really glad that I did, because there have been times in my life, and I've seen others do it, where we have an intent, a goal set, and that's it. It's like blinders are on. We're going for it. Obstacles, no doubt, run them over, get to the goal. And I have learned enough now that whenever there is so much like proving energy where you're constantly trying to prove or push, wow, just stop everything that you're doing. And like what you just said, talk to yourself. And it really comes down to we have so many conversations with the world, right? Or we're constantly listening to the world. But how often are we really communicating with ourselves or listening to ourselves? We don't allow enough time for this. And that's why so much of it seems so foreign to many of us. It's not that it's so out there or shocking or magical or all of the things, or too woo woo, or whatever you want to label it. It's just that it's a gift that we never take on and give to ourselves, right? And we just need to do it. We just need to sit quiet and listen and feel and connect, and have, like, your book, have that be a guiding way for people to get to know how to come into more communication with themselves. We're so intent on having good communication with everybody else but ourselves, right? And it's like, and yet we can do quantum leaping in life if we just sit still and listen and feel and connect with this energy, because we do have all the answers already, right? It's just about peeling away all the extras on top of it. So, oh
It's
my
really
goodness.
about the mind getting out of the way and
Yeah.
connecting spirit to spirit. And
Yes.
I have done this more times than I can count. I'll say, you already know the answer to this.
Yeah.
spirit,
Mhm.
my spirit, you already know the answer. You've already got this planned out. So by an act of my will, I connect with what you know. Now, guide me to it. And
Yeah.
I cannot tell you. One time, it was even 3 days I was moving and I didn't have an address, and what I thought I was going to live fell out from underneath me. And so I had to sit in front of my computer and I backed away and I went, higher self, you already know. You already know where I'm moving. You already knew that I didn't want to move in that scenario
Mhm.
with my
Mhm.
daughter. So I'm good that it fell through. But 3 days, the moving company is asking for the address and I'm moving states away. Guide me to it. And I heard as clear as day with clear audience, go to Craigslist, scroll until we say stop.
Wow.
And there was my space. And it was perfect. And then the guy that was renting the condo kept coming to visit me because he kept feeling the energy and he was so excited. And he would bring me his paintings and go, I did these paintings, Jane. And then the people that I met that were in that specific neighborhood are still friends of mine. The creek that I was living next to, the nurturing, that's what I'm talking about, 10 to 100 times more. We are
Yes,
always
exactly.
looking at it
Mhm.
from a limited perspective. If we
That's right.
don't tap into what our spirit knows, we're going to be living small.
Yes. And I love what you're saying too, because this is another very important life lesson. When something falls apart, let it. It's sometimes the best thing that could have ever happened. And you might not feel it right away. And not for, not I'm not saying for everything, but there are reasons why you are being protected. And there's new opportunities that are, like you said, tenfold for you, right? So, oh my goodness, I could talk to you all day, but okay, one more success question before we go. I like this one because it's kind of like what's your daily life like? So I always like to ask, what type of empowering routines do you do, like a morning routine? What do you do every day to set yourself up for success? Is there something that you will not do? Like you have to do it or else you feel out of alignment.
Well, I I know myself so well that I know what I need first thing in the morning. So I know a lot about transitional moments in your life. And when you're laying in bed and you're waking up, if you'll just stay there for a few minutes and say, what do I need to know today? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is really just a very practical thing. I'm not really a morning person, but I'm not in a bad mood. So I like to ease into my morning. Breakfast and coffee is very important to me. And so that routine grounds me, believe it or not, because my work is so esoteric and in the non-physical that grounds me in the physical. And then I would say there's another thing that I learned. Do your top 10 things that you need to do for the day before 10 o'clock in the morning. So one of the things that I have done is to not let people book right at 8 or 9 in the morning so that I have a checklist. I love checking things off and I will get those things done and then I feel freer to be inspired. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
Oh, yes, it does. And not only that, it also builds your confidence immediately. So you're already starting the day very proud of yourself, which is in its own right giving you so much power and energy. But you know what? One of the big takeaways I think that I am getting from this most beautiful interview is just even what you just said. Before you jump out of bed and start the day, be relaxed, sit with it, and ask and listen. So if there's one thing that I think all of you beautiful women listening to this unbelievable interview can take away is slow down and speak to yourself and hear yourself and don't always just be running and pushing and proving. Settle down, settle yourself down and let the magic come in and know that it will be open to it. It is already in you. You just have to like listen and hear it. And so I just think that this is like really like we need to have like little dates with ourselves and little rituals where we check in and we're quiet so we can be present and hear and get in tuned. That was wrong word. I was thinking like in an like a tune up, like get
Attuned. Yeah,
Yeah,
attune.
attune. Yes,
Get in
exactly.
alignment with who we are. And I talk about the Holy Trinity, the spirit and the mind and the body, and how that when it's in alignment, you can even think a thought and you manifest it immediately. So about 3 weeks ago, I said out loud, very non-resistant energy, very clear about what I wanted. I said, I want another life and breakthrough transformation client, and I want it to be somebody new, and I want it to be a man. And within 2 days, I got booked. And just from the first session, he booked a life and breakthrough transformation within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
that simple when we're in alignment with
Yes.
where our heart is and what we want and we desire. And what I do is not special or gifted. I can teach you how to do it.
I love this. Well, you are very special and very gifted, and I'm so thankful you are here and sharing this beautiful work that you're doing, helping everybody have better lives. So before we sign off, just let everybody know your main website URL one more time, and then we'll
It is very
close out.
easy. It is just my name, TammyDemirza.com. That's TammyDemirza.com. If you sign up for my email, you'll also get access to the quiz if you want to go that way. So there's a lot of free content. There was just a book launch that was yesterday for this new book. And by the way, if you buy a book and you send me an email that says info@Tammy I'm doing a master class that is going to be live for 90 minutes for free for anybody that buys any version of this book. I don't care if it's Kindle. And if you're listening after that date, after that master class, it's recorded. You can request it. You can get it the same way everybody else is. But right now you can attend live.
I love this. There's so much goodness that you're putting out there in the world to help other people. So okay, so thank you so very much for being here. And did I not promise that this was going to be such a beautiful interview? So really like listen to this interview again and share it with your own tribe of beautiful people, because this is such a beautiful life experience and we don't always have to make it so difficult. There really is a way to quantum leap, enjoy the journey, be inspired, and be an inspiration to others. There's just so much uh, that is wonderful. And I'm so thankful that you have all taken the time to listen or watch this beautiful interview. And please reach out to Tammy. She is just an absolute gift of a human being. I'm so proud to be able to share her work with you. So thank you so very much. And see you next time, and keep going for your dreams, and we will be back soon. Okay, let's see.